we're going to talk about sandwich crime. And unfortunately, it's not a fun story. Black man shot by deputy held a sandwich, not a gun. This is out of Columbus, Ohio. Civil rights and FBI investigators will help look into the fatal shooting by an Ohio sheriff's deputy of a black man whose family said he was holding not a gun but a sandwich, and that he was shot in front of two toddlers and his grandmother while inside his home, not outside of it, as authorities assert. The Office of the U.S. Attorney David M. DeViers in Ohio said Tuesday that it would step in, along with the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division, the FBI in Cincinnati and Columbus Police, after the state Attorney General's office declined to investigate the shooting of Casey Goodson Jr., 23, because it said the police department didn't ask soon enough. So, again, this is something that's relatively unprecedented for, like, the state attorney general's office to just be like, the police department didn't ask, so we're not going to investigate it. Which means that, like, the, like, office of the U.S. attorney and, like, the FBI had to fucking step in. Like, do you know how bad you have to fuck up in order for the FBI and the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division to step in under the Trump administration? Okay, this is going to be a rough story, guys. My grandson just got shot in the back when he came in the house, Goodson's grandmother told a dispatcher Friday, according to 911 recordings obtained by the Associated Press. I don't know if he's okay. Again, this was a black man shot in his house while holding a sandwich in front of his grandmother and two children. And on top of that, the grandmother didn't even know who shot him. She called the fucking police. They shot him in the back. Goodson had just gone to the dentist, she told the dispatcher, and she didn't know what had happened or who shot him. The Franklin County Sheriff's Office, like, fucking guys, how often have you, like, gone to the dentist, right? You go to the dentist for a teeth cleaning, you know, on your way back, you know, you don't want to eat before the dentist because, you know, you don't want to get food in your teeth. So on the way back, you pick up something to eat. In his case, he had a sandwich. And he's just getting home from the dentist, just about to eat it. And seemingly for no reason, he gets shot by a sheriff's deputy. And they say that they thought he had a gun. This is, by the way, this is why people chant about Black Lives Mattering. You don't get stories about white people in their own homes getting shot for holding a sandwich. You don't read stories about that. Now, if there are stories about that, and you see this clip on YouTube, if you see this clip, you know, if you're in chat right now, I encourage you, please send those stories to me, because I would love to cover the injustice of those stories as well, okay? The Franklin County Sheriff's Office first reported Friday the fatal shooting of a man that day on the north side of Columbus. The case was given to city police because the sheriff's office does not oversee investigations of its own deputies in fatal shootings, and the police department did not release such details as the names of Goodson and the deputy who shot him until Sunday. Since then, Goodson's relatives and law enforcement officials have been given conflicting details. Visible evidence of the events is lacking because the sheriff's office did not provide officers with body cameras, and the deputy's SWAT vehicle did not have a dash-mounted camera. The deputy, Jason Meade, a 17-year veteran of the sheriff's office, had been assigned to a U.S. Marshal's Office Fugitive Task Force. The task force had just finished an unsuccessful search for a fugitive Friday afternoon when Goodson, who was not the suspect, drove by and waved a gun at Meade, according to the U.S. Marshal Peter Tobin. Meade confronted him outside Goodson's vehicle in front of the man's home, Tobin said. One witness heard Meade command Goodson to drop his gun. When he didn't, the deputy shot him, Tobin said. Goodson was taken to the hospital where he died. But attorneys for Goodson's family say that he was shot while walking in his home and that his grandmother and 2 toddlers who are not his own children witnessed the shooting. Tobin's narrative leaves out key details that raise cause for extreme concern, the attorney's statement reads, including the object Goodson was holding. Police say it was a gun that was later removed from the scene. Goodson's family said he was holding a Subway sandwich. He was holding a fucking Subway sandwich. Now, again, it's really awfully convenient that the officer involved with a fugitive task force wasn't wearing a goddamn body camera. It's awfully convenient that his SWAT vehicle didn't have a dash cam. It's awfully convenient that the only one left to tell the story is the officer and the one adult who didn't get shot in the situation other than the officer. At this point, witness testimony and physical evidence raised serious concerns about why Casey was even confronted, let alone why he was shot dead while entering his own home, the lawyers added. Even if Goodson had been carrying a gun, the statement read, he had a license to do so. So on top of all of that, he was a licensed gun owner. On top of that, I believe that I believe, and I might be mistaken, so if somebody in chat knows better, I believe that Ohio is an open carry state. So not only was he licensed, he was qualified to carry a gun openly. And again, would you drop your sandwich if somebody said drop your gun and you weren't holding a gun? If you have a split second to react, I know my reaction would be, I'm not holding a gun though. I have a sandwich. Like, would you assume that the officer is talking to you about your sandwich? I don't think so. The sheriff's office and a police union declined to comment on behalf of Meade. Mayor Andrew Ginther had sought Monday to send the probe to the State Bureau of Criminal Investigation, which the Attorney General's office oversees, to ensure another layer of independence. Protests in Ohio, in Columbus and elsewhere over the police killings of George Floyd in Minnesota and Breonna Taylor in Kentucky included, among other things, criticism of law enforcement officers investigating their own. But the Bureau declined to take the case because it believed Columbus police should have called for help immediately, according to the office of Attorney General Dave Yost, a Republican. 3 days later, after the crime scene had been dismantled and witnesses have dispersed, does not work, a spokesperson for Yost said in a statement Monday night. On Tuesday, De Villers, I'm going to say De Villers, it's probably wrong, office made the announcement that it would work with other agencies to review the facts and circumstances of Goodson's shooting and take appropriate action if the evidence indicates any federal rights laws were violated. So again, they waited 3 fucking days to get an investigation started on this murder, this straight up murder of an innocent civilian. They had the crime scene cleaned up by the time they started investigating. I think that seems a bit suspicious. Just a bit. Let's see. Meade's personnel file shows that he is a former Marine who received small arms training before joining the sheriff's office, and that he has had a generally good performance. 2 missteps stand out. In March 2019, he was reprimanded for misusing a stun gun on a suspect and failing to notify his supervisor of his use of force. And in September 2007, the sheriff's office prohibited Meade from having contact with inmates, but did not disclose what conduct prompted it, which probably means he was beating suspects. I'm just gonna take a wild guess on this. What other reason could you have for denying this person the ability to work with inmates or suspects? I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, this entire story is absolutely fucking infuriating. Obviously, we're not going to know more until the investigation continues. But given the facts that we know right now, Casey Goodson did not deserve to be murdered by police. I don't know. I like, this man didn't deserve to die for holding a sandwich from fucking Subway. Looks like a good dude. Looks like a good dude. All right. Yeah, and you know what? I know the cop's story was that he waved his sandwich, he waved his gun at the officer as he drove past. I'm going to go out on a limb and say he might have been waving his sandwich in a friendly way at the officer. It sounds made the fuck up. It does. This entire story sounds like it's something you couldn't write for like a crime show because it's so on the nose. Or he didn't even wave at the officer at all. Also true. Also true. But like, this officer, I guess, consistently couldn't tell that this guy was holding a sandwich. So, fuck. How are you a cop and you can't even tell the difference between a sandwich, a fucking Subway sandwich, and an actual firearm? Come on now. Well, actually, I feared for my life because I thought the gun was wrapped up in sandwich paper, you know, like criminals do. You know, it's a really common criminal tactic to wrap up a gun in sandwich paper. So I feared for my life, so I shot him. Like, I can hear the fucking stupid, like, justifications for this already. Already I can hear it.